So this is chapter 2A, day 1. I know we're in chapter 1, but my chapters got misnamed during the shutdown, and so all the numbers are mixed up. So I just call it 2A. We're going to talk about adding and subtracting integers and the basic rules. So Roman numeral 1, we're going to learn the 2 rules for, and I'm going to abbreviate, adding and subtracting. If you don't know the 2 rules, I highly encourage that you memorize them because they are the fastest way to do this. Other rules are a lot slower and less accurate. So here's the first one. Rule number 1. The rule is if the signs are the same, so if the signs are the same, so they're both positive or they're both negative, if the signs are the same, add the numbers, keep the same sign. Add the numbers, keep the same sign. That's the whole rule. If the signs are the same, add the numbers, keep the same sign. It really is that simple. So that's the first rule. So here's an example, EX1, example 1. Let's say you've got -2 minus 5. This rule applies because you're adding and subtracting and they're both negative. So the signs are the same. They're both negative. So if the signs are the same, you're going to add the numbers in your head. So 2 plus 5 equals 7. So you add the numbers and then you just tag on the same sign, which in this case would be negative because they were both negative. So that's the same sign. Now, you've actually been doing this rule for quite some time. In grade school, when you did 2 plus 3, the only difference is they didn't tell you in grade school. Guess what? The 2 has a plus in front of it. It's invisible. Can you imagine how much fun that would have been in grade school? Invisible. Would have been great. So the signs, though, are still the same. Positive and a positive being added or subtracted together. So you're going to add the numbers. So in your head, 2 plus 3 is 5. And then using the rule, since they're both positive, you're going to keep the same sign. Your number is positive. Now, I know that a number is positive whether there's a plus or not. Because we're learning the rules, for right now, I'm going to encourage you to put the plus in. You can drop it later. But for right now, that's good practice. Okay, so I'm going to give you example 3 and example 4, and I want you to use the rule to get the answer. So example 3 is -1 minus 7, and example 4 is 10 plus 4. Go ahead and do those on your notes. If you're afraid you're going to be wrong, use a pencil, and then you can erase it if it's incorrect. Go ahead. Use your rule. If this is easy for you, awesome, enjoy it. Things will get hard quickly. If this is something that you didn't remember, this is your chance to relearn it. So notes are required. So if I write it, you write it. Notes are 10% of your grade. So you do need to keep up on the notes. You can't just sit and do nothing. That will be 10% of your grade. Yeah. You can abbreviate the words, yeah, but probably not the math. All right, so let's look at this. We have 2 negative numbers being added or subtracted. So we're going to add the numbers in your head, 1 plus 7, which is 8, and keep the same sign. These are both negative, so the 8 is negative. All right, let's do the positives. Just a second. 10 plus 4. We add in our head, we get 14. They're both positive. So our 14 is positive. Question.
We also have to highlight.
Have what?
Have to highlight what you're highlighting.
Not today. Supplies aren't due till Tuesday. All right, so that's our first rule. Let's go on to the second rule. Second rule, number 2. This is if the signs are different. If the signs are different, that's why this is a different rule, you are going to subtract the numbers, and this is the part that helps you out. The bigger number gives the sign. So if the signs are different, subtract the numbers, and the bigger number gives the sign. So if the bigger number is positive, your answer is positive. If the bigger number is negative, your answer is negative. The bigger number gives the sign. All right, example 1. We're going to do 2 minus 5. Now, remember that the 2 actually does have a sign in front of you. It's invisible. It's a plus. So I'm adding and subtracting. 1 is positive, 1 is negative, which means the signs are different. This is how you know that you need to use the rule. So in your head, you're just going to subtract the numbers. 5 minus 2, and you're going to get a 3. Now you use the rule. The bigger number gives the sign. 5 is bigger than 2. 5 is negative, so your answer is negative. That's the rule. The bigger number gives the sign. This is so much easier than going, oh, you go left and then you go right, and then you go up and you go down and you count twice and reverse something. No, it's not easy. The bigger number gives the sign. Very easy rule if you can remember it. Let's do another one. Negative 8 plus 12. So the signs are different. That means we subtract. In your head, 12 minus 8 is 4. That's in your head. Now the rule, the bigger number gives the sign. In this case, 12 is bigger than 8. The 12 is positive, so my answer is positive. The bigger number gives the sign. All right, let's do one more, and then I'm going to give you one to try. So positive 11 minus 13. The signs are different, and you're adding and subtracting, so subtract the numbers in your head. 13 minus 11 is 2. And then the bigger number gives the sign. 13 is bigger than 11. 13 is negative. My 2 is negative. All right, last one, example 4. This is one you're going to do. Negative 30 plus 25. I want you to go ahead and calculate that using the rule. Nine times out of 10, if I have a student who's struggling with this, they can't tell me the rules. They didn't memorize the rules. So seriously, if you just memorize the 2 rules, it's so easy. And if you memorize them on the first day, it's easy peasy for like 3, 4, 5 days. So memorize them right away. So here we go. The signs are different. We're adding or subtracting. So in your head, you're going to subtract 30 minus 25, which is 5. And then the bigger number gives the sign. 30 is bigger, it's negative, so the 5 is negative. All right, any questions so far? Okay, so we're almost done with notes. We only have one more section, and I wouldn't even show you this section except that they put it on the SBA test a couple times, and I want to make sure you've at least seen it. We will practice it a little bit because it's really not that useful in the long run. So Roman numeral 2, this is just a little add-on. We're going to graph to solve on a number line. Graph to solve on a number line. And again, this has really limited use because it's assuming the numbers are always going to be tiny, which they aren't. But you do need to know how to do it. So here's the rules. If your number is negative, you count left. If your number is positive, you count right. And you always start at 0. Those are the 3 rules you need to know to do this. I'm only going to show you 2 quick examples because, again, this is not that useful of a skill. I'll give you a second to get that written down. Okay, example 1, -3 minus 5. Now that you know the rules, you're like, the signs are the same, add the numbers, keep the sign. It's 8 and it's negative, and you would be right. But they want you to be able to do this with a number line. So if you don't have a ruler, it's okay. Just draw as straight of a line as you can. And we're going to put a 0 at the far right. And then just like number, you don't have to number all the spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm off my number line. 8. I need to make this a little bit longer. Here we go. The way you do this on a number line, you start at 0. The first number is a -3. So from 0, you're going to count 3 spaces. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to put a little dotted line there. We are now parked at a -3. Now, from there, you do the second number from where you left off. So this is a -5, which is also left. So from where you left off, you're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And where you end is the answer, which if you count your spaces, this is -8, which is the answer. And that's how you find it using a number line. Kind of interesting. Okay, we're going to do one last number line and then we're all done. We're going to do -4 plus 2. Again, using the rules, you're like, signs are different. Subtract. 4 minus 2 is 2. Bigger number gives the sign. It's -2. And you would be right. But let's show you how to do it on a number line. So draw a number line. And you can go ahead and put the 0 at the right again. So starting at 0, our first number is a -4, so you go left 4. So starting at 0, we're going to count 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That lands us at a -4. So where we left off, you're going to do the second number. The second number is a +2. So where you left off, you're going to go to the right 2. 1, 2. And where you land is the answer, which is a -2. Any questions about drawing number lines?